So these are the connecting modules with order management. So we take the sales order from customer in the order management system, and the global order promising module is going to verify the availability for that order to ship to the customer. It's going to see the availability, nothing but the demand and supply. According to that, it's going to plan the scheduled ship date, or it can be the scheduled ship date it can be based on the demand and supply, or it can be based on the lead time. It can be based on the lead time. So the lead time based is nothing but at the item level. At the item level, we are going to specify the lead time for that item. So how much time it required to make that product item stock available in the inventory. So that is nothing but lead time. It can be a buy item or it can be a manufacturing item, whatever item it is. So what is the time required to make that item stock to be available in your inventory? So that calculation is based on the lead time. So it can be supply chain based, nothing but what is the demand and what is the supply. According to that, global order promising is going to identify the scheduled ship date for the sales order, or else it can be based on the lead time. So two options are available. We can choose any option. Give me a moment. Who is this? Rohit Emmanuel. I see a new name now. Let me admit. Who is Rohit? Who is Rohit Emmanuel? You're on mute. Please unmute and talk to me. Okay, I'll see for some time, and then if I don't get any response, I'll remove from the meeting. Okay, so the global order promising module is going to help us in identifying the scheduled ship date for the sales order. Okay, and if the stock is available, then the scheduled ship date is today itself. If the stock is available, then the scheduled ship date is today itself. So from the inventory, we can pick and ship the goods to the customer. Okay, and this pricing model, it will help us to identify the price for that item in the sales order creation. It helps us to identify the price for that item in the sales order creation. So we can identify the price based on the item, and based on the customer and item combination. Nothing but for one customer, we sell for one price. For another customer, we sell for a different price. We can also maintain a customer specific price list, I mean to say. Okay, or else we can also maintain only one price list, a global price list, which means price is common for all the customers. So such kind of price list is called as a corporate price list. Only one price list, nothing but corporate price list, which is common for all the customers, and for all the items it's the same price. Okay, otherwise you can maintain a price list for specific to the customer, or else we can also maintain price for based on the customer type. The best example is Amazon. Amazon is going to sell the products for normal customer for normal price, but for Prime customers, Amazon Prime customers, they get a better price compared to the normal customers. So which means based on the customer type and customer classification also, we can define the price. For normal customer, let's take $100. For special customers, it is $98 only, and for distributors, it is 95 itself, because they are going to resell the product to their end customers. So always distributors are going to get better price when compared to any other customers. or else we can have a price list based on the business unit, for one business unit, one particular price list, or else we can have a price list based on the order type also. Okay, so there are many ways we can derive the price to the item in the sales order according to the client requirement. So I'll discuss the possible ways in the pricing solutioning, and I'll also show you in application. And distributor order orchestration is a kind of a workflow in EBS. You can compare like that. It's a kind of a workflow in EBS. Okay, it's a automated process of the workflow, so which will automatically trigger few events, and also it will automatically process the sales orders based on the responses of those events. So in the distributed order orchestration process, also in the workflow, in case of EBS, in the workflow, you'll see nodes, right? So the workflow is going to pass through those nodes. If you have opened any time of EBS workflow, you might have seen a green line is passing through each and every node. So which means those nodes are crossed by that workflow. Those nodes are crossed by that workflow. Okay, and in the similar way, also distributed order orchestration also is going to do the same job. It's going to do the same job. Okay, so where it have multiple steps in it. One is shipping step, an example, and another one is invoicing step. Okay, when the orchestration passes through shipping step, that means the shipping has been done, and the next step is it is waiting on the invoice. So such kind of sequential steps you'll also see in the distributed order orchestration. Okay, so these are all the modules that get interconnected with order management. Of course, again, procurement also is required in case of a dropship and back-to-back. Because in case of dropship, we take the order from the customer in the order management system, and we try to process that order in the procurement module, because we are going to process that order to our supplier, and our supplier is going to deliver the product to the customer. So in this cycle, procurement module get involved. So procurement is also a connecting module to order management. But these are the additional modules that I'll be discussing at a part of the order management and then configurations. Okay, so this is a high level overview of the order management module. And coming to the cycles, most importantly, the outcome of the order management configuration is cycle. In the same way, like procurement, after doing the procurement configuration, what we have done all the business transactions. What kind of business transactions we have done? We played on the requisitions, and we played on the purchase orders and agreements, and also on the RFQ creation part, nothing but in the sourcing module. And as a supplier, we acted and we acknowledged the purchase orders and agreements, and we are able to create an ASN as a supplier from the supplier portal. Okay, so all these business transactions we are done after the configuration has been done. In the similar way, once the configuration is done, this is something that we have to create and verify to make sure that our configurations are working fine. Okay, and currently Fusion is offering all these cycles. It is offering all these cycles, and I think 2 years back, some cycles are not available. Not every cycle is available in 2 years back, but right now every cycle is available. So standard sales order is there. The standard sales order is nothing but we take the order from the customer and we ship the product to the customer, and also we're going to invoice the customer. So that is called as standard sales order. But what is ship only? Ship only is nothing but as a promotion, we are sending samples to the customers. That's a promotion. So we don't want to bill the customer. So in that case, it is just ship only. So we are just shipping the product to the customer and we are not billing, because that is a promotional product. Or else there may be many reasons in your business, but the one reason that I am explaining is I'm promoting my new product. That's the reason I'm sending some samples to the customers as a free. So I should not bill the customer. So I'm going to ship only the order, okay, and bill only. So bill only, see, so bill only is nothing but your customers to me. Your customers to me. You are getting anything physically? Am I shipping anything to you? No, I'm just billing you. I'm just billing you. So that is bill only. Okay. And also, the best example for bill only is services that you are getting from me here in this case, services. And also, if you are directly walking to the store and you are receiving the product physically as a customer, you're just billed by the company. That's it. Let's take pizza store. If you're ordering from home, that is ship and bill. But if you go to the store, and if you're eating there, you're just billed by the Pizza Hut company. That is bill only. Okay. And in case once this product is shipped to the customer, in case of any returns or damages, or if the product is not matching with the quality standards expected by the customer, okay, there will be many reasons are there. Maybe when you manufacture the product, maybe it's not produced properly, or the product may be damaged during the transportation, or the product may be damaged during the uh, loading and unloading time, okay, by the laborers. We call it as hamalis. Okay. So for any reason the product is damaged and the customer would like to return the product to the company. Customer would like to return the product to the company. Again, here three scenarios are there. One is, again, customer don't want a replacement. A customer would like to have the amount back to him. In case if the customer is paid, the customer would like to have the amount back to him. So that is called as customer would like to return, and the customer would like to get the credit. Customer would like to get the credit. So this is called as return and credit. And then a return only. So in this case, customer is returning the product to us. Customer is not expecting an amount. Customer is not expecting an amount in this case. Here the customer is expecting amount. So we have to create a credit memo. We are not creating an invoice. In case of standard sales order, you create an invoice and you send to the customer, and customer is going to make the payment against the invoice. But in case of return sales order, we have to create a credit memo. We have to raise a credit memo. Again is the credit memo. We have to make the payment back to the customer. So there is a difference between invoice and credit memo. So invoice is something that we are seeking from the customer, and credit memo is something that we are paying to the customer. So we are raising a credit memo and we are issuing amount back to the customer. Okay, but in this case, customer is not expecting. We may replace the product. We may replace the product, which means here, and in this case, only credit only. Only credit only, which means customer is not returning the damaged product to us. Here in this case, customer is returning the damaged product to us, and we are physically receiving in the system. We are physically receiving, and also we are receiving in the system. Okay, and here in this case, just credit only. So customer is not returning the damaged product. Why customer is not returning? Because our executive has gone to the customer location and our executive has really verified that the product is damaged and our executive has confirmed it. So then what is the reason that you receive the product again back to you? Unnecessary transportation charges, because you don't do anything with it. It's a scrap. Once it is damaged, it's a scrap. If you're receiving physically and if you're receiving in the system, it's a scrap product. So already it's damaged. You don't need that. So in this case, you only create a credit only order. Okay, so in this case, you are not you don't want to have a receiving step in the order. No receiving step. What is receiving here? You're not receiving the damaged product here. No receiving step. You're just issuing a credit memo to the customer. So these three are possible. So here for standard sales order, three situations are there, and for return sales order also again we have three situations. All the three situations are possible. Okay, and then dropship sales order, I have already given a best example for dropship sales order. All e-commerce sites are doing dropship only. Okay, they are the middlemans between the between the customer and us, sorry, between the supplier and us. Because when you order to Amazon, Amazon is not going to deliver the product to you. Amazon suppliers are going to deliver the product to you. Okay. So Amazon is taking the order and Amazon is processing the order to the Amazon suppliers, and suppliers are going to pack the product in the Amazon boxes and they're going to deliver the product to you. Okay. That is called dropship. So here what Amazon is doing, Amazon is dropping the shipment. Amazon is not taking care of the shipment. The shipment is done by Amazon suppliers. Okay. And back-to-back sales orders. So this is a situation when we don't maintain the stock for the item back-to-back. When we go with the back-to-back generally in the business, due to space issue, because the product occupies a lot of space. The best examples is power generators. Have you seen power generators uh, on the road when any pillars are getting constructed or bridges are getting constructed? They're going to keep the power generators like they're going to be like what's the name? So you might have seen these kind of power generators on the road when any construction is going on, like pillars and bridge, anything is getting constructed, right? So this occupies a lot of space. Suppose you got a bulk order for 1,000 power generators or 50,000 power generators. So we are going to keep, there is a lot of space issue there. And also these kind of products are not really small, they're very costly. So if you are maintaining inventory for these products, you're investing a lot of amount. You're investing a lot of amount. So generally what business is going to do is, business is going to act when they get a sales order from the customer. Okay. When they get a sales order from the customer, they process that sales order as a purchase order and they get it from the supplier and they immediately ship to the customer. They immediately ship to the customer. There may be a space issue or there may be a costly product. It may be, so it takes a lot of money to invest to keep an inventory for that item. Or maybe we get rarely orders for that item. We don't want to maintain inventory. If you're maintaining inventory, the stock may get expired. Let's take food products. For food products, if you're maintaining inventory, what happens? So if you're not able to sell the product on time, it get expired. So for many business reasons, we may go with the back-to-back sales order. Okay, so back-to-back sales order is you're not maintaining an inventory and you're processing the sales order to the purchase as a purchase order to the supplier and receiving the product and then shipping immediately to the customer. Okay. So in this case, our supplier directly ship the product to the customer, and in this case, our supplier is going to ship to us, but we immediately ship to our customer. Okay, that's what is called as back-to-back. And then transfer order. And then transfer order. We have already seen intra-organization transfer concept, right? In the inventory, we have already seen intra-organization transfer. Okay, so it's the same concept, transfer order, but in case of intra-organization transfer, there is no documentation. Okay, we don't have any legal document. What we are doing, we are just simply going through the page and we are just transferring the goods from one inventory org to other inventory org under the business unit. But in case of transfer order, you're going to create a sales order, nothing but a requisition has to be created by the requesting organization. A requisition has to be created by the requisitioning organization. So you're creating a formal document called requisition here. Okay. And to ship the product, a sales order should be created and shipping should be done to the requested organization. Shipping should be done to the requested organization. Okay, so here we're creating two documents. One is requisition and the sales order. Okay, because it is an internal sales. It is internal sales. Okay, that is the reason internally a request is coming through a requisition, and that requisition is going to process as an internal sales order. and we are going to ship the product to our company itself. So that is called as transfer order, and in EBS we call it as a IRIS flow. But in Fusion it's called as a transfer order, and the transfer order is not exactly like a sales order page. Okay, a transfer order is a different transaction. It's a different page. It's not a sales order. In Fusion, it is not a sales order. It's a different transaction. It's a different transaction page, and it looks different compared to the sales order. Okay. So these are the cycles. And apart from these cycles, there are additional concepts are there like credit holds, credit hold functionality. So what is credit hold? Okay. Best example is all of us are having a credit card, right? What is your credit limit? So your credit limit is certainly some amount. So every customer, in the similar way, every customer in our company is having a certain credit limit based on the customer behavior. Okay, banking industry is going to identify the customer behavior based on the CIBIL score, and in the similar way, from industry to industry, there are different factors are there in identifying the customer behavior. Okay. So based on the customer behavior, we're going to have a certain credit limit, and once the customer has outstanding invoices to be paid or open orders, when the when open orders and outstanding invoices are more than or are equal to the credit limit, then it won't process a new order. It won't process a new order. I mean to say, a customer has to pay outstanding invoices, and we already received some order from the customers. So if you add both, it's already equal to what we are having currently with the customer, and customer has placed a new order, and if you're accepting a new order, it is going beyond the customer limit. So we can have a control in the system for customers, saying that for this customer this is the limit, and if the customer is trying to take more than that, the system keeps that order into hold. And generally in the business, that hold is going to be released by the finance team, because the finance team is going to inform the, or they're going to discuss with customers offline. So hey, we got a new order from you today, and you're already pending with so and so outstanding amount, and you already placed so and so order. So what we'll do now, you want to pay it immediately to process the order, or you need some time. So based on the decision, finance team is going to release the order to process. Okay, and the credit hold functionality is not available before 2018 in Fusion. So it came into the picture from 2018. Before it is not there. Order management, I would say, is a still growing baby in Fusion. It's not really matured. So on day-to-day basis, it is learning. It is, and then I also talk about defaulting rules. I also talk about defaulting rules. So defaulting rules is based on certain conditions, you can default the values in the sales order, because in the sales order screen, there are many fields are there to enter the data, like you have to enter payment terms, freight terms, and schedule ship, uh, transportation reason, or customer bill to ship to order type, and customer purchase order number. There are many fields are there to be entered. Okay, so if it is one or two orders, that's okay, the users can enter. But if there are a lot of orders are there on day-to-day basis, it's quite impossible to enter every field manually by the users. So that's why based on certain conditions we can default the values in the sales order so that users can create order immediately or quickly. Okay, and the technical definition is with minimum number of keystrokes. With minimum number of keystrokes, the users can create a sales order quickly, since we are defaulting the values in the sales order. Okay. And then processing constraints. So processing constraints is nothing but we would like to control the user actions. We would like to control the user actions in creating something or deleting something or updating something. Okay, by creating a constraint on the particular process. By creating a constraint on the particular process, so we are controlling the users in taking certain actions like creation, updation, deletion in the sales order page. Okay, and sales order approvals is a completely new concept in Fusion. Sales order approvals, it's not there in EBS, it's new in Fusion. Sales order approvals. Okay, so during my implementation, business asked me this question. Okay, for procurement, I need approvals because it's something that I'm spending. So I would like to have a control, definitely something if I'm spending. But the sales order is a revenue, right? If you're getting more orders means you're getting more revenue. So why I would like to have a control on the sales orders to have approval to be defined in the system? Can you please explain me the significance of it so that I wanted to use it in that way? So I got this question from the business head, asking the significance of this concept to be used in their current business, how they can effectively use this concept in their current business. Okay, so I'm there at the client side, and I know how they are operating the business. So I have given an useful ideas to implement this concept to be used in their business. Okay, the one idea that I've given is they have a sales team. Okay. They have a sales team. Everybody is listening to me, right?
Yes.
Okay, Monica, are you there? Yuvraj?
Yeah, Krishna.
Yes, Krishna.
So they have a sales team. So what sales team is going to do is they're going to approach the customers. The sales team is going to approach the customer, and I'll put arrow this way. The sales team is going to approach the customer, and the sales team is going to take the orders. And they have a sales team, and under the sales team, so these salespersons are going to interact with only these customers. That means there is a dedicated salespersons are available for the customers. So let's say I'm a salesperson, I'm going to take care of only 50 customers. That's it. If anything comes up from that 50 customers, it's my responsibility for the sales. Okay, my colleague is going to take care of different 50 customers. That is how we do the business. So if more sales are there, then your sales team should be classified to customers, so that you should not be mixed up, right? So if and that is the way that we maintain the relationship with the customer also, because if one salesperson every time is interacting with the customer, they have a bonding and relationship, so that if anything goes wrong, again we can still retain the customer according to that relationship. If every time a new salesperson is interacting with the customer, so it's every day it's new for the customer, that salesperson, right? So the sales team is going to, let's take the sales team has taken the order. So what sales team is going to do is they're going to give the details to the customer support team. So in business, it is called as CS team, in short, CS team. Okay, they send these details to the customer service team, not support, customer service. And this customer service team is going to enter the orders in the Oracle. So once the order is created in Oracle, then next steps are confirming the order and then picking and shipping the order to the customer and then invoicing. All these are the Oracle steps. Receiving the payment from the customer and then verifying in the bank reconciliation and then posting to the ledger. Okay, all these are the Oracle steps. So what is happening here? A sales team has sent the data to the customer. Okay, they're emailing the data to the customer. Hey, this customer is requesting for this item, this quantity, and customer is expecting the product to be delivered by so and so dates, and this is the price that I promised to the customer. Okay, so that is how the sales team is going to send the email to the customer. Okay, by looking at that email, customer service team. By looking at that email, the customer service team is going to input the data in the Oracle system, right? By looking at that email, the customer service team is going to input the data into the Oracle system. In the Oracle system, when creating a sales order, they're going to enter by looking at the email, what is the item, what is the quantity, what is the price. They have to enter what is the payment terms. If something goes wrong, if there is a mistake in the data entry, then okay, so
customer is not going to be happy.
Yeah. So if it is, it creates issues. Instead of one product, if you enter a different product and if you send to the customer get really surprised. And if the customer is ordering 10 and mistakenly you entered 100, 1,000, 10 extra, or price also 10 extra in the price. So you'll get a call from the customer. So to avoid that, so we can have a control once the sales order is created in the system. Okay, so by using this sales order approval, so what I've done is I redirected this order to the sales guy for his approval. So once the order is created, before it processes with the next steps, and the sales order approvals, I created conditions in such a way for all these customers. Okay, let's take, these are the XYZ customer, PQR customer names. Okay, ABC customer. For all these customers, the sales guy is Mr. A. Okay. If any order created against these customers, that should be reviewed and approved by Mr. A. Okay. So this is one business situation to utilize the sales order. Okay. And another business situation is, so for all the sales team, sales manager is there. Sales manager is also there. Okay. And every order created in Oracle system, sales manager wants to have a FI notification. FI, for your information notification. Okay, the sales manager, the sales manager need not to talk to every sales guy asking for, hey, what is today's sales? He need not to ask, because if he is getting an FI on every order, he can be more happy, or he can be more disappointed with that day's sales. Okay, that is one more. We can send an FI notification to the sales manager of the sales team. Okay, and if there are some good news are there, some good news are nothing but if you got a bulk order, you got a crazy order from a customer, more than, I mean, how much crazy that order is according to your business size. If your business is small, maybe anything bigger amount order is come to you, it's really good news for you. So if the order is really big for your company, then you want to intimate the director of the sales team. Okay, so that they will be more happy, because you need not to call and tell them, hey, today we got this new order and all. You need not to call them. So you're just sending an FI notification to the sales director. So the sales director is more happy with it. Okay, that is one more scenario. And other scenario is, it's really beautiful scenario, because once the order is created in Oracle, the shipping has to be done by which team? The shipping has to be done by which team? The shipping has to be done by which team?
Inventory team.
Inventory team, right? So until unless you send a pick slip report to them, they don't, in the picking process, you create an order today, but maybe after 2 days, you're going to launch the picking process. And once you launch the picking process, you're going to send the pick slip report to the inventory team. So then only they know. So once the order is created in system, they don't know. Inventory team don't know, because see, customer service team is different, and finance team is different, and the inventory team is different, and HR team is different. So one guy is not going to do everything right in the company. Am I going to create an order and I go and ship the product from the inventory? Do I do it? No. I'm going to create an order in the system, and somebody is going to, working in the inventory department, they're going to perform picking and shipping. But today, if I create an order, it won't intimate the inventory team until I launch the picking process, because in the picking process, pick slip report get generated. Hope you remember the pick slip report. Pick slip report we discussed in the movement request. Do you remember? Do you remember the pick slip report?
Yep.
So the pick slip report you are issuing to the inventory guy, and the inventory guy is going to do the job according to the pick slip report. So when you're launching the pick slip report, you're launching the pick slip report during the picking process, but picking process is happening after 1 day or happening after 2 days. Okay, but I would like to inform the inventory team once the order is created and confirmed. This makes sense, right? So that they can be, before you issue a pick slip report itself, they may be proactive. They may be proactive, and you are saving the time here by informing them, so that they're going to arrange their things. They need boxes for packing. Okay, they get the boxes, or they need a labor for packing. They make sure that labor is available. So that is also one more best business practice that you can bring, having this concept implemented in the application. Right? Do you agree with me?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and also the sales order approvals is new in Fusion, and earlier coming to the conditions, there is less conditions are available to utilize, but slowly Oracle is, I mean to say, attributes. As seen in 2 years back, there are very less attributes are there to utilize in the conditions, but right now slowly Oracle is introducing more attributes to be used in the conditions. And so these are the additional concepts apart from the cycles. So these are the additional concepts that I'm going to discuss in order management. And then anything else, the concept. I'm just giving you a teaser to order management module. Okay, definitely custom orchestration creation. Touching the orchestration is not really simple. You should have a real guts to touch the orchestration customization. Okay. We can also generally workflow, in EBS, workflow customization is done by who? It's going to be done by the developers, not we. Functional consultant is not going to do it. In the similar way, orchestration is something that need to be customized by the developers, because Again, I'm bringing the expression language into the picture here. Again, in the orchestration, the code has been written on the expression language only. Okay, it's a different skill set, writing an expression language by the developers. Okay, so, but I'll show you what kind of requirements I got to customize the orchestration. I did few customizations in orchestration, and it's really simple. I mean, adding the new processes or removing the existing process from the orchestration. So adding, I have not written any conditions inside the process. So inside the process, you write some conditions here that if else, then, so you put a lot of ifs and a lot of else. I've not done that, but I could able to show you how we can remove the existing process. You don't want to have that process in your orchestration, or you don't want that step in your orchestration, so just simply ignore it or remove it. Or you want additional process to have in that orchestration, yeah, you can add additional step there. Okay, that kind of stuff I've done. I'll show you. And also I'll show you where you can write the conditions and how right now the conditions are written using the expression language. I'll show you. Okay, but in case you are good in building the logic, or if you know the expression language, you can try it. Okay. Next concept is jeopardy. I mean, to say the jeopardy. The jeopardy is nothing but English meaning is risk. English meaning is risk. Okay. So we can have a jeopardy setup to classify what orders in high risk and what orders in low risk and medium risk. Okay, so there is an infolet on the auto management dashboard. There is infolet on the auto management dashboard. Okay, if you look at that infolet, it will show you how many orders are in high risk bar and how many orders are in medium risk bar and how many orders are in low risk bar. Okay, how we can identify whether order is in high risk? So schedule ship date is, let's take one example. The schedule ship date is actually we promised on customer to deliver the product by October 10th. By October 10th, but what is today? 15. You are delayed by 5 days. You're delayed by 5 days. It's a risk to your business. If any particular task of the orchestration, I told you shipment is a task in the orchestration. It is a one step in the shipment is a step in the orchestration. If any step in the orchestration or if any task in the orchestration is delayed by the expected date, it has to be, it's actually delivered by 10th October, but it's been delayed by 5 days. Then if it is 5 days delay, you want the order to kept in high or you want the order to be kept in medium or low. It's all according to your configuration and your business. If the business says 5 days is really big, just put it to high order, then you have to configure the system. If any order get delayed by 5 days, then it goes to the high risk bucket. Okay. And this is again a beautiful functionality. It's very short but beautiful functionality, because if you are delaying certain steps in the or tasks in the order, it's get delayed from the expected date, which means you are monitoring the whole auto management process properly. You're a order manager. Your designation is order manager. I mean, I'm talking in terms of application. Okay, so there is a business language is there, and there is a application language is there. I'm talking in terms of in the slang of application. In the application, there is a role called order manager. Okay, order manager role is provided to the a person who monitors complete sales cycle. So that guy can clearly oversee or monitor which orders are right now in low and high risk. So he can coordinate with the respective team to get it done, that orders immediately. Okay. That is a Geoparty setup, and as we'll also discuss about salespersons, how to create salespersons, because in the sales order, the salesperson name also should be there. Then only you'll come to know who is responsible, which salesperson is responsible for the customer. And so generally in the invoice, you see the sample invoice, right? You see the sample invoice, right? So the sample invoice, are you able to see the screen? I mean, it's okay. It's okay, right?
Yeah, Krishna.
Yeah, Krishna.
So this is a sample invoice which we create and send to the customer. So this kind of invoices we can create in Oracle system also. This is the product, the original product that we already shipped to the customer, and a 15% discount. Okay. For this 15% discount, you want to display any reason. The 15% discount we have given as a Diwali promotion, or as a New Year celebration or New Year promotion, or the customer is a special customer, or we are running some what you call big billion offers. What do you call that? Big billion day. Okay, so we want to display reason to the customers in the invoice. So such kind of reasons we can create. Okay, such kind of reasons also we can create. This is a requirement when I was doing the implementation. One of the requirement of the customer to have a different reasons for the discounts to be displayed in the invoice. It's a small requirement if you're speaking in, but how to make it in the application, you don't know. A simple setup only, but you should be able to figure out it out, where to do it. And there is a concept called, in the row number 119, there is a concept called stakeholder notifications. The stakeholders notifications are nothing but whenever an order is created in the Oracle system, because when you're creating an order in the Oracle system, can you give me a moment? Whenever you're creating an order in Oracle system, you're going to put the customer name and customer, the ship to which location we have to deliver the product, and customer bill to which location we need to bill the customer. Okay, and along with that, you also enter the customer email ID. So generally, customer email ID comes with the customer contact setup. Customer contact setup, like for supplier, we have created a contact, right? In the similar way, for customers also, we create a contact. Okay, so that from the contact, email ID is automatically default into the sales order. So in case once the order is created, later on you modified the order based on the customer requirement. You modified the order. You have changed the quantity, or you put that order into hold because customer requested to put that order into hold. You have kept that order into hold. So in the situations, you want automatically a system to trigger a notification to the customer. In the situations, if you want automatically, let's take you kept that order into hold. Your customer informed you over the phone, and you have customer call to the customers. Our customers has we will every business will have a number. So the customers are going to dial to that number, okay, and they inform the customer service team saying that, okay, don't deliver my product, please keep my order in hold. I am going to let you know when I want again. They call and then they inform the customer service team. What customer service team is going to do? They're going to open that order and they're going to keep that order in hold. Okay, in case if you wanted to intimate the customer about the order is being kept on hold in Oracle system. You want to trigger a notification to the customer and you want to inform the customer through Oracle system. You can do that by using business event trigger point setup. Okay. But there are only certain events already there. Like one example, one event I told you, when the order goes to hold, when you keep the order into hold, or when you like that, here event is hold. You're keeping the order into hold. In this event, I want a notification to be triggered to the customer. This is one event. Like that, only few events are there. Only against those events you can configure a notification which will trigger to the customer automatically. You're not able to add a new events there, so you can use the existing events to trigger a notification. Okay, maybe Oracle in future is going to give us more events so that we will be able to automate the system to trigger notifications to the customers. Okay. And also we'll also discuss about a couple of customer facing documents. Customer facing documents are like pack slip report. You send the pack slip report to the customer because customer looks the pack slip report. By looking at the pack slip report, customer can visualize and can think over the shipment that he received. Because if you look at the pack slip report, you can identify, oh, okay, 100 boxes are there. Okay, each box is containing 10 items. Oh, okay. Then he can simply immediately count that 100 boxes, and he can go and open 1 or 2 boxes to check whether inside that box 10 items are there or not. By looking at the pack slip report, he can easily come to know that how the packing has been done, and he can easily verify and he can quickly sign on that delivery note and give it to the person who delivered the product, so that person can quickly move from the customer place. Okay, so all these documents are customer facing documents, like not pick slip. Pick slip is internal document. Pick slip you issue something to the inventory team to pick the items to ship it to the customer. So pick slip is an internal document. We issue pick slip report to the inventory team. So the inventory team is going to pick the items and ship to the customer. Okay, but bill of lading and then pack slip report and commercial invoice, all these are legal documents and also the commercial customer facing documents. Because commercial invoice is a legal document, of course, because you have to carry commercial invoice during the transport. The truck driver should carry the commercial invoice. If the government checks happens, then truck driver is going to show this invoice. And bill of lading also, because in the bill of lading, who is a shipper and who is a receivee, who is a consignee. Okay, those details are there. So this is going to be reviewed by the government officials during the transportation. So they're going to see what is there in this BOL and what is there in the truck, the cross verified. So this point I'm making to the experienced people who is already worked on the EBS. This point I'm explaining to them. Others can ignore it. In case of EBS, in the dropship cycle, once the purchase order is created, what we do? We do logical receipt here. In case of EBS, we do logical receipt. Okay, and we'll have a separate sub inventory because it's a logical receipt, right? It's a logical receipt, and you should have a separate sub inventory for logical stock, because logical stock something it displays in the system. It won't physically exist. Just to close the purchase order and to close the sales order, what you are doing, you are creating a logical receipt, and you are having a separate sub inventory created in your system to do that receipt, right? Yes or no? In
Yeah,
EBS.
Krishna.
Yep.
Yes, Krishna.
So you have to perform logical receipt because physically we don't receive. Physically the product is received by the customer. And just to close the purchase order, we are logically doing a receipt, and that logical stock we are maintaining in a separate sub inventory, because you should not mix the logical stock to the regular sub inventory. Okay, so it will throw you out in case of cycle counting and physical counting, because you see a lot of variances in the physical stock and the system stock. So you should have a separate sub inventory so that whatever the stock that you see, it's simply the logical stock, and maybe frequently you can perform explainage issue to remove it from the system. Frequently, how much frequently is nothing but how much frequency of orders that you are getting for this process. That much frequently you can issue out that logical stock from the system. Okay. But in case of fusion, it's really wonderful that you don't have this in the ASM. You need not to create a separate sub inventory, and you need not to do any miscellaneous issue. You're just creating an ASM in the system, or AP invoice match. Anything, ASN or AP invoice match. The moment you create an ASN, purchase order get closed and the sales order get closed. Or else you don't want to have it again ASN step. I'm not using any ASN. I don't want to create additional document in the system. I don't want to do that. Yes, of course. Anyway, you have to create AP invoice, right? Why you have to create an AP invoice? You have to create invoice, and again is that invoice you have to make the payment to the supplier. AP invoice is account payable invoice, which we have to pay to the supplier. Anyway, obviously you have to create an AP invoice, and you match that AP invoice with the purchase order. The moment you match with the purchase order, it get closed, and then its respective sales, dropship sales will also get closed. Okay. So you can decide there is a configuration. There is something called supply chain orchestration, and in the supply chain orchestration, you can decide which option you would like to go. Okay. I know that supply chain orchestration terminology is completely new here, so I'll explain you what is supply chain orchestration and how it plays a significant role in order management. Because the supply chain orchestration configurations are mandatory for dropship cycle, and in case of intercompany also. In case of intercompany, okay, and also in case of different delivery scenarios also. In case of different delivery scenarios also, okay. The different delivery scenarios are an example I'll tell you. You are in US and you are in China, okay, and all your manufacturing is done in China, and but US is your headquarter, and nothing but all the sales is controlled from US, so every order goes to the US. So US is taking the order, but who is going to deliver the product? Your China entity is going to deliver the product. Your China entity is going to deliver the product to the customer. So this kind of, I mean, here generally what happens is straightforward business flow is if US is taking the order, generally US is going to ship the product to the customer, US entity. But here one more entity is coming into the picture, that is China entity. The China entity is doing the shipment. Okay. So this kind of different business cases that can be handled in supply chain orchestration configuration, but the flexibility, I mean, you can have that flow and you can go through with that flow and configure the system. But on top of that configuration, if you're expecting more flexibility, it cannot be possible. There is a system is there. The system you can configure and you can place that process in that system, and you can go with that process. Again, I want to have a different situations there. It's not possible with the supply chain orchestration. And one new feature, as I told you, order management is still growing baby. When I was doing implementation, I found two common sense bugs, I would say. So when you actually create a return order, you create a return order. Okay, there is a sales order, and you ship some so and so item to the customer. You ship so and so item to the customer, and customer said, "Hey, the product you delivered to me is not good. I would like to return. Okay, so you're going to create a return sales order. Again, is the original sales order. Okay, and this sales order has steps. Like the steps are like entered, scheduled. These are the steps in Fusion, like scheduled and picking, shipping, awaiting billing. Sorry. Actually, directly in the sales order, you'll only see awaiting shipping. That's it. And once the shipping is done, you'll see awaiting billing. Once the billing is done, closed. And once all the lines are closed and header status is also closed. To close the header status, you need to schedule a program called update and close the sales orders, and we close the sales order headers on generally in the business. The sales order headers are going to close during the month end. Okay, and let's take I ship the product. I ship the product to the customer, but I have not invoiced. Invoicing is still pending. Okay, but the return order in the Oracle system, the return order you cannot create till you invoice and till the order come to the closure status. If it is in awaiting billing, you're not able to create a return order. You have to forcefully invoice the order, and you have to forcefully make that line to be closed. Then only you can create a return order. This is 1.5 years back exactly. It's a bug. So I had to go through a lot of meetings to convince this bug to the management, saying that it is not the product which is designed by me. It is designed, or it's a product of Oracle. I'm just representing. It has taken many meetings. I had to go through many meetings to convince them. And also, without a original order, you cannot create a return order directly. In case of EBS, you simply go to the sales order page, and if you're selecting a return transaction type, that is a return sales order. If you're selecting a return order type, that is a return sales order. But in Fusion, you're not allowed to create a return order directly. You should have a sales order. From the sales order only, you can book the return. But now, from 1 year onwards, Oracle has given this feature also. You can create a return sales order also directly without any original sales order. Okay. So it was very tough to do the implementation at the client side before 2 years because of all these nonsense issues and common sense issues. Anything else? I think and one more I mean, now the flexibility is given. I'm really happy with it. The flexibility has been given, but your sourcing rule is going to drive the order flow. your sourcing rule. You're not using sourcing rules or sourcing assignment in procurement. We are just using under order management. So generally, the sourcing rule you create and you mostly use for planning. But here the some kind of planning that you are implementing in the system. If you are implementing order management means some kind of planning you are implementing. Some sort of planning you are implementing. So that is the reason you have collections here. And all this information for EVS who have some planning knowledge. So in case of planning, what we do, you run collections, right? In case of planning, who have some knowledge on planning here? Who has some knowledge on planning here?
Me, I have implemented ASCP and demand draw.
Okay.
So I can speak about it. Yeah.
Collections, we run collections
Yeah.
in planning. In EVS, you run if you don't implement planning. For order management, we don't run, right?
If you're running GOP now, ATP was on Oracle, then they moved it on the ACP side. So you have to run GOP to support ATP. So your plan has to support GOP.
In
And
EVS,
then,
EVS.
yeah.
So in case of Fusion, you have to do some sort of configurations and some sort of process from the planning. I'm not saying 100% of the planning you're doing, just a flavor of planning and you're configuring in the system. In Fusion. You have to run the collections, and once the collections you have run the collections and all your objects are available in the planning system, and nothing but where you configure ATP rules and sourcing rules. So according to your ATP rule, the demand supply calculation happens, and according to your sourcing rules, so the system will be identifying the order next steps, nothing but the standard sales order or drop ship or back to back. Because in case of sourcing rule, you specify transfer from, nothing but ship from this inventory org and then buy from, so that it goes to the drop ship flow or back to back flow, or it's a make. If it is a make, it goes to the work order flow. So in earlier year, you're binding with the sourcing rule. In the sourcing rule, you configured for that item, it's a transfer from or buy from, you're binding to the system. So according to your ranking, 1, 2, 3, it will take rank 1. Let's take rank 1, you kept as transfer from, nothing but ship from. Rank 2, you kept as buy from. Always first source sees, it will see whether stock is available in the org or not. If it is not available, then only it will go to the buy rank. Or else rank 2 may be your different org. I mean to say, for everybody understanding, I'll put this way. I'm taking a lot of time and effort to explain. Please don't forget this class. I'm just requesting you. In the sales order, let's take you created sales order for item A. Okay, and in the sourcing rule, not in the sourcing rule, generally in the sourcing assignment, I'm going to specify which sourcing rule has to be picked. But generalizingly, I'm explaining under one setup itself here in the notepad. Let's take item A. You configure a sourcing rule saying that it's transfer form. Transfer form is nothing but a ship from. So you would like to ship this ordination from which org? Okay, let's take we have CTL, right? We have TLS, and we have Boston also. Configured Boston also here, right? There is something called rank. When you're configuring a sourcing rule, you have to keep rank 1 and rank 2. What is this rank? So first, whenever you create a sales order, and for this item, this is just one example. So you can identify the sourcing rule based on different conditions, but item is one condition. If the item is so and so, then I want it should go to so and so sourcing rule. Under sourcing rule, this is what we configured. What we are telling the system, hey, if any sales order comes for this item, you have to first look at this or for the availability. If the availability is not there, then go with the second order. Okay. There are two problems are there with this. The two problems are there. One problem is you are binding to the system here. You are losing the flexibility. Because I have a stock in this org, but I would like to go with this org. It's not possible. It's not possible. No, it is not. It was not possible. I'm talking about before 1.5 years. It was not possible. You don't have a flexibility. You are binding with the rule that you are. Or let us take this item today. I mean, you wanted to shift from your org, but for some reasons you want the same item to go with the drop ship flow. This is a standard sales order flow because you are shipping from your own warehouse, means it's a standard sales order. But you want this item to be for this, just especially for this order, I want this item to go with the drop ship flow. Okay, so that flexibility is also you lost, and also maintenance. Again, one more concern is maintenance. What is maintenance here? Whenever you add a new item, you have to come here and you have to add here. Whenever you add a new ordination, you have to come and add here. It's a maintenance. I'm just talking about one sample case. There might be many cases are there like this to configure different types of sourcing rules for different items between different customers. There might be multiple cases are there. You end up in creating the system and maintaining the system. But this all happens in the GOP. All this happens in the GOP. And if you remove the GOP, I don't want let's take my client says that no, I don't want all this nonsense. I don't want to go to the GOP. I don't need any planning. I know what is the schedule ship date for my sales order. I know better. I don't want system to recommend me about the schedule ship date. I don't want it. I can put the schedule ship date in the sales order manually. So the client says that, and if you remove the GOP process from the orchestration, one big disadvantage is in the sales order page, you're not able to see the availability of that item. Generally, when you're creating a sales order, when you put the item, the system is going to show you, in case of EBS, it will clearly show you how much quantity is available, and what is available to transact and what is available to reserve. It will clearly show you. But in Fusion, it won't show that. It will just show in stock and out of stock. So the stock is available or not. In stock and out of stock, only this it will show. It will not show you how much is available and not. It will show you just in stock or out of stock. But if you remove the GOP, you won't get this recommendation in the sales order. You'll get no data found. This is what happens in when I was doing implementation. Client don't want to bind to the system, and the client don't want to have a GOP, because GOP, it will give you the schedule ship date for your sales order, and client don't want that. Client said, I know schedule ship date, I can enter. And one more biggest problem is in EBS, can we enter schedule ship date manually? Is there any schedule ship date in EBS? Schedule ship date field or column?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Fusion, you don't have. You have this field, but you cannot enter. It comes from the GOP. You're not able to manually enter it. It comes from the GOP. Okay. So these are all the situations that I faced. that I faced. Only I know how I have gone through that implementation phase at the client side. So GOP, you're not able to enter the schedule ship date of the sales order. You have to, GOP is going to give you that date. But in case if you remove the GOP, then how you get the date? How you get this date? So what I've done is, in the sales order, there is a field called requested date. There is a field called requested date. This field can be entered. Okay, let us take this field. I recommended users to use this field as a schedule ship date. Okay, so what happens is the users is going to enter this field, considering this field as a schedule ship date. And let's take, I would like to deliver the product by 20th October. Okay, so they are entering this field. What I'm doing is using defaulting rules configuration. So in Fusion, that is called as transformation rules. In Fusion, that is called as a transformation rule. Using this configuration, I'm defaulting this requested date as a schedule ship date. I'm defaulting the requested date as a schedule ship date by using this configuration. But this is fine. But what about the recommendation that I'm talking about? In stock and out of stock recommendation talking about. I cannot do anything on it. It won't display. If you remove GOP, the schedule ship date, I have a workaround. I'm using the requested date field and I'm defaulting the requested date field as a schedule ship date field. But what about that recommendation if you don't use it? Okay, you get no data point. So forcefully, you have to maintain the GOP. You have to configure, you have to implement the GOP, and you are implementing GOP. You have to configure the system sourcing rules and sourcing assignments, ATP rules, and you have to run collections frequently. And most importantly, waiting time. Most importantly, waiting time. What is waiting time? Because if you have to configure sourcing rule, you have to run collections, right? You have to run collections. If you run collections, because we configure sourcing rule under planning system. Under planning system. I mean, if you technically speak, I can technically talk about it, but generalizing for your understanding, I'm talking in this way. If you technically speak, to create a sourcing rule, it should be available in the planning tables. Planning table starts with, I think, some XA, some prefix is there, 3-letter prefix. All the master data should be collected and should be set in the planning tables. Then only you can create the sourcing rules. That is a technical definition, but for everybody understanding, I'm just explaining in this fashion. So in the planning system, you configure the sourcing rule. Okay, so suppose this is an old item, that's fine. But I created a new item. I just now created a new item. Something called item jet. I created a new item. I cannot immediately use that new item in the sales order, because if I immediately use that item in the sales order, this item is not having a sourcing rule. If it is not having a sourcing rule, it don't know the way. It don't know the way. It will throw error. I don't know what to do. The sales order is going to throw error. I don't know what to do. So this item should be collected. That means you have to wait till you run the collections and it completes. And then only you can configure a sourcing rule for this item. Either it can be a buy from or transfer from, whatever it is. Whatever it is, you can configure. So generally you won't run collections quite frequently. Collections are going to run end of the day after the business hours, because it creates load in the system. Otherwise, even though if you run collections, what happens is You have to educate the business users to run collections on need basis. They has to wait till it get completed. Of course, you can tell me collections can be run only for item object. Yes, of course you can run, but at least it will take 10 minutes. Minimum 10 minutes it will take. Only if you're running collections only for one object. In case if the customer is also new, when you're running the collections, you have to select customer object also. Again, it will take 10 minutes. How much time they has to wait now? Users are not, to be frank, most of the users, they don't have a patience because they want their work to be done as early as possible so that they can leave the office. And they will simply say that we want the system to automate everything. It's a touch and go. I want the system to be a touch and go. That is what the expectations of the users. If I touch it, everything should go. That is how our sales team is going to, or the management is going to project to the users. We are going to a new system. That new system has got a lot of features. That this Oracle is really great. They will say all these things to users, and when you enter into the office to implement the product, they have a lot of expectations on you. And slowly they drop with the expectation. They come to the reality to the ground. So if some can understand and some they cannot understand, so you have to bear with them, with the users. Okay, but
It is true, Krishna.
hmm?
That is true.
Yeah. So as I told you, auto management. When I was doing the implementation, when I did the implementation, I would like to give. It's a 2 years baby. It was a 2 years baby. Now it is a 5 years baby. Okay. So auto management is just a 5 years. Do not compare Fusion auto management with EBS auto management because EBS is from 1980. It's a matured application, and also it's a grown boy who already married and has a kids. But Fusion auto management just 5 years old baby. Okay. And now slowly Oracle is improving the auto management product, and I would say currently even though you don't have a sourcing rule for the item, you can still process the order. You can still process the order just by selecting the from which warehouse you wanted to ship, like EBS. In EBS, you're able to select, right, from which warehouse you wanted to ship, either from Seattle or either from Boston. You can select whatever you want. Okay. So now the current system, the first preference is, in the previous system, if you enter here or if you don't enter here, always it goes to the sourcing rule. What is your sourcing rule? That's it. I'll do according to the sourcing rule. That's what system says. But right now, the current system, first it will listen to you. So what you are mentioning in the order, you are mentioning Seattle or you are mentioning Boston. Okay, I'll listen to you and I'll process again as that warehouse. If you don't enter, then I'll go with the sourcing rule. If you're entering, it will listen to you. If you're not entering, then it will go to the sourcing. That is the current system. Flexibility better now. Flexibility is better now. That is about when when I've seen the source rule concept, all these things has come to my mind immediately. So I thought I could share with you. And again, it's your decision to implement sales order approvals or credit holds. There is a setup. In the setup, if you say yes, then only credit holds are going to be used. And if you say yes, then only sales order approvals are going to. If you say no, it won't. Not using both the concepts. So you can say yes or no according to the client requirement. Okay, so anything that's important. And coming to the comparison with EBS to Fusion, I mean, in terms of order management, I would say the change is okay. Before I tell you this, we have completed procurement suite, right? So, how much percentage of the change between EBS procurement with Fusion procurement? What is the change percentage that you're thinking? How much flavor has been changed? What is the percentage of it? I mean, that's okay. You can tell your assumption, right? Hello.
Sorry, this is Rajiv here.
Hello.
Each individual component of under procurement has now become its own individual submodule. So agreements, negotiation, sourcing, supplier introduction, all those things were just introductory aspects in EBS. Some of the capabilities were not there. Those have now become much more richer in content. From a core purchasing perspective, I think the same flavors are there, except the look and feel has changed and maybe a few functionalities has improved. I think that was not there in procurement. I-procurement, which is now the I forgot what's the term. I-procurement is probably the
Self-service
same.
procurement.
Self-service procurement. Yeah, that's probably is the same. Even the look and feel is the same. But obviously, one thing what has now gone away is a workflow. The concept of workflow is no longer there now. I think the approvals have changed completely because obviously the underlying HCM module has changed, where the jobs and positions and supervisor manager relationships that has matured because HR has matured. So all in all, I think it's a step in the forward direction. Yeah. So I think it's probably 35% gone forward, and each individual customer depends upon what they're looking for. Now they have a much more richer content to look forward to, as comparison to before, where agreements and contracts and then sourcing stuff were negotiations rather. Negotiations was very weak. Contract and agreements were kind of okay. Now they become much more richer. And obviously, the financials has changed. The way the financials are set up. Previously, you needed to write a lot more code to support certain specific charge account generation. Usually, people have to write code around it. Now, probably with SLA, you can have much more flexibility. It's much more easier to manage from a business side than from an IT side. Yeah. I mean, and there are obviously other things. Look and feel has become better.
Yeah.
It's moved more towards EBS was not designed, or rather in previous generation systems were not designed keeping the business user in mind. With Fusion now they have, it's more of a business user in mind. There is much more um, much more relevancy from a user perspective, because now everything is pushed down to the business user, and if they don't do their activity, then there is a lot of better escalation processes which were probably not there in the previous. But everything is moved towards web-based, so it's much more easier to manage as compared to previous, where you have to write a lot of code or workflows, which is very painful. So obviously, the technology has changed significantly. I don't know whether I gave you an answer or not, but that's my feeling up here.
No, you give the answer. Like you feel that 30% is changed.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're explaining, what are aspects that you feel it's changed, that I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And order management
And
flavor.
there's another thing what we had, in our previous company, we used to say Oracle is called wow, way Oracle works. It's got its idiosyncrasies. It's always there. Even in the new screens I'm seeing, there's a lot of idiosyncrasies is there. I think the one thing what Oracle has never improved, and I don't think it's still not improved, is called HCD. It is not HCD design. So HCD is what is called human-centric design, where they need to take the user into account. Like you go into Amazon, it's very HCD centric, where you know exactly where to click for and what to do and how to do, and it's very intuitive. Oracle is still not intuitive. It's not reached that level of maturity. It is still very, it's still got half a decade away from a HCD design perspective. That's what I think it is. It's the look and feel is still needs much more improvement from that perspective.
Okay.
But that's probably true with all transaction systems. They never think about the user in mind. They always think about the functionality in mind first.
Okay. Okay, so we are close to 8:40. So, so from my view, order management, when you compare EBS with Fusion order management, more than 50% it's been changed. So the way the pricing works, configurations, and the way that we call the distributor order orchestration.
Right.
So mostly the configurations has been changed. So if you already know EBS order management, you cannot you cannot say that Fusion auto management. You have to attend each and every class. Make sure that you're attending each and every class and understanding how the configurations and how the flow in Fusion auto management. Okay, that's all I would like to say. So it's already 8:40, so I'd like to close. And so today I given teaser to all the concepts and all the modules and features of the order management. So don't forget this session, because going forward I don't explain in much detail of each and every concept. So if you want to go through the video again and again, and make sure you understood my high-level explanation on each and every area. Okay. So that's it from my side. So from tomorrow onwards, we'll start working on the configurations, and once we are done with that, we'll create a cycles and we'll try all the transactions in the system. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you all. Bye.